Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Legacy Tour Huntsville. I am your host, Zachary Cuck. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Drake Sasser.
How's it going, guys?
And we are in the finals.
Ooh, Painter versus Elves.
Yeah, it has been, what, 9 rounds?
9 rounds.
Yeah, 9 rounds of action today. And our finals.
Ooh, starting off strong. We got a moon effect, turn 1. All right, James, have the forest. Oh, nope, that's not a forest. Well, he would have been able to fetch the forest.
Yeah.
But that looks like a turn.
Being on the play
effect.
is a big deal.
Absolutely. That was straight out the gate. You know, that's one of the strengths of the Painter deck, right? Is being able to just kind of power out a Blood Moon effect, shut down most of these greedy mana bases, even Elves. You know, where they play, what, 2 forests in
2
Elves?
forests.
So even a mono green deck getting shut down, once again, by an elf, by a Blood Moon effect.
Painter Servant on turn 2 probably means that everything is now a blue spell, and this could be a really quick one. If Andrew has the Grindstone, that's all she wrote.
That doesn't tap for green.
Taps for red, however.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Taps for more mana than it would otherwise.
Show me Grindstone. What you got? Oh, nope, we're in the beats. Painter beats. Well, you know, like I said, James is going to have to find some way to produce green mana here. So, is that a Grindstone?
That's the Grindstone. Boy, this is a turn 3, turn 4, I take it.
Yeah, because you can just activate, right?
Yeah, James.
Wow.
And there you have it. That'll close out game 1 of the finals.
What a game.
Yeah.
Jeez, but you know, that's what Legacy decks do. They come in, they do what they do that's broken, and then, you know, they get out.
So, one last time, we would like to thank JC's House of Cards for sponsoring the Legacy Tour Huntsville. JC's House of Cards is located in Madison, Alabama. They are the host for the event and the supplier of both store credit / cards for the prize pool, along with all of the needs for TCG players, right? Like,
right, absolutely.
You need
he's
boosters.
Got a fantastic selection. One of the best selections you'll see, you know, anywhere within 100 miles of Huntsville. It's fantastic selection,
especially if you're a Legacy player.
Absolutely, his Legacy selection is, you know, it's better
awesome.
than anywhere else.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's great. So onto the sideboards. Drake, I'll let you. You've got James's list. So why don't you kick things off? What do you think Elves brings in against Imperial Painter?
Well, I mean, Abrupt Decay seems stellar and to the point of overworked.
Yeah, there's a lot of targets.
Maelstrom Pulse once again seems fantastic. Null Rod, awesome. You can cast it under Blood Moon, stops their entire combo. That card seems very strong.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine Pithing Needle for similar reasons. That card seems good. On the play, I kind of like Thoughtseize, and maybe some of the other Hindifix Therapy might be a little too much because naming Magus or Blood Moon, it's kind of hard to call the right one. But Thoughtseize, you can grab either one. So if you can stop the turn 1 Moon effect, I kind of really like bringing in Thoughtseize. And as for outs, I think you can take out a lot of your turbo combo decks. I mean, turbo combo pieces. I think you will be able to combo off more consistently. Like, you have better disruption in the asymmetry. So I think you'll be able to disrupt their combo and combo off better. You just need to make sure you have green mana.
Right.
So getting a turn 1 Dork is super important. Obviously, you can't bring any of those out. And, you know, but
being on the play will help there.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Being on the play, I think this is this might be James Hess's game to win just because he's able to be on the play and get some green mana going.
So from the Imperial Painter side, we've got a pair of Containment Priests. Those seem solid against the Green Sun Zenith deck.
Absolutely.
A third Ensnaring Bridge, which we saw in the last match is a good card if you can empty your hand and actually make use of it. Ethersworn Canonist is actually probably a pretty good card too, right? Because the Elves deck sort of depends on being able to deploy, especially with Glimpse of Nature.
Yeah, it's such a Glimpse of Nature.
To be able to play multiple spells in a turn, so that's probably solid. I imagine Sudden Shock is playable, although not necessarily. It depends how much Andrew has to bring out. Thorn of Amethyst does virtually nothing because Elves is an entirely creature-based deck. Vexing Shusher, is pretty worthless because James doesn't counter anything.
Right.
And Viashino Heretic is a maybe. I mean, James is going to bring in artifact-based disruption for a few of his cards, but I don't know if it's enough to justify the Heretic, especially when Andrew already has a little bit of main deck answers in Manic Vandal and Jai Ballard. Like, both of those can deal with artifacts under the right... Well, Manic Vandal does it easily, but Jai Ballard under the right conditions. That I don't know if you actually need a repeatable effect like Viashino Heretic. Just, again, it depends on how much there is to bring out. I think you could justify bringing out some number of, like, Pyroblast and Elemental Blast effects.
Right, yeah, absolutely. They're not very good.
But... I mean, obviously, once the Painter's down, they're good. But prior to that, they're weak, which is actually what Painter tries to gain an advantage in an open metagame by by assuming that like half or more of the decks it plays against will be base blue to begin with.
Right, and so that makes your blast very, very good.
So yeah, I like I said, I think some of those could come out anyway. And then it just depends how much else you can bring out as to how many of the cards like Sudden Shock and so on that you would want to bring in.
Absolutely.
It looked to me like Hess has more sideboard opportunity, probably improves more in the matchup. I don't know if this is a good matchup for him post board, but he definitely improves more than Andrew does.
You know, intuitively it would seem that Painter would be like a not that hard matchup for Elves. You know, they have multiple ways to get green mana with their creatures. They have Forest. They're a mono-colored deck. You know, it's
Right,
not like
basic
they're
lands.
they're not trying to cast a whole, you know, myriad of colored spells in different colors. So it would seem that, you know, mono-colored decks would be some of the harder matchups for Painter, especially ones that can like ratio combo wise.
Right.
But you know, Blood Moon is very, very strong, as we see game one ending that quickly. Blood Moon effects can really shut down the Elves deck, as they only play 2 forests. But being on the play is really, really going to give Elves the advantage, because he knows, you know, James Hess knows he needs to get a forest, he needs to get a mana producing thing, and I think Elves is a deck that can mulligan very consistently to one of those two things, something that produces green mana.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think the Elves deck is probably ahead.
Yeah.
Unless Andrew can snap a Ensnaring Bridge down nice and early, get the lock up and going. And it's worth noting too that James Hess, his Abrupt Decays are green and black, so getting both colors could be a little difficult here in game two.
It almost requires him to be a little more cautious with how much mana he taps on his own turn, because you can always float the mana to then cast the Abrupt Decay after the Blood Moon comes down, but you can't do that unless you leave your mana up, right? Like,
which makes it reasonable to consider fetching Bayous, even if you have that kind of thing going on. You know, fetch turn 1 forest, turn 2, instead of fetching the other forest, fetch, like, just go grab a Bayou.
Right.
And that way you can float the mana and use whatever mana producing guy you play turn 1 to play any further creatures. So it may not be just the strict fetch basics game here in game 2.
Yeah, not post board, certainly. Now, it looks like Hess has decided to keep. I'm not sure if Andrew is debating whether he's keeping his or not. Nope, looks like we are off to the races. A Deathrite and a Bayou.
Now, there's no fetch land, so this Deathrite is not producing mana yet. So if he goes turn 1 Blood Moon effect, this Deathrite's not
right back in
yeah,
trouble
exactly.
again.
This Deathrite's not producing mana, and I think James hesitated a little when keeping his hand. And I think that was the thing he was kind of debating: is what are the chances he has a turn 1 Blood Moon on the draw? And so we'll see if he has it, and that looks like a no. So if James can get a second land down here, like I said, fetch for a forest here would be a great turn 2.
Mm-hmm. Now it looks like he drew a Crop Rotation, which ironically can also sort of get you out of the Blood Moon scenario.
Right. I mean, it does the same thing, right? Puts a land in the graveyard, and
finds you a basic
forest. Now he does have the Cavern in hand as well, so it might be worth it maybe to just play that and sack it, because Cavern doesn't seem very good against Painter to begin with. You know, they're not going to be pyroblasting anything of yours until Painter's down.
And at that point, sometimes it's a little too late.
And it looks like Andrew's going to have to fetch in order to play anything like
right. So that gives you a Deathrite.
So you know you're going to have a Deathrite activation, which is I think why James is willing to extend a little bit on the board here.
Sure.
He knows he's going to get an opportunity to get green mana, and at that point you can crop rotate and give himself another land for Deathrite and a forest, which will allow him to turn on Abrupt Decays later in this game. Let's see what he's going to do with that second mana.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the debate is. Something's being cast, I assume.
I think he's checking his sideboard to see what he sided out.
So does this mean that he's
maybe he might be considering trying to combo here, because I mean, look, we have Nettle Sentinel, Heritage Druid online. Those are quite the pieces. So if he has a glimpse here, he could just kind of get a little go off going.
And even if he can't completely go off, now he opts not to attack with the Deathrite, assuming that there's going to be a fetch land activation.
I mean, that seems very reasonable, right?
Right. And that does not allow for an Abrupt Decay, actually.
No, it doesn't, because you can't float the green and use Deathrite,
Right,
so he
right.
can't Abrupt Decay end of turn with just the things on field. That would be super cute, but he cannot.
Now, Andrew has Enlightened Tutor in his library, correct?
He does in his 75. I believe he has one main deck, and I don't think we saw any side deck.
Okay, so it's possible if he has one of those, or if he has it in his hand, he could go find some hate piece right now. I noticed he fetched the Plateau, or either that, or he just wants the Plateau, knowing that Elves doesn't have things like Wasteland to punish you for doing
right.
that.
And your own Blood Moons don't hurt you that much as far as grabbing white, so
Right.
you might as well grab the Plateau, which I'd imagine is the logic. Let's see what we got turn 2. It's not another fast land, so unless without a spirit guide, we're not gonna see a blood moon here. Imperial painter, painter servant.
Right.
That's a 2-drop, correct?
Yeah, it's a 1/3 for two
Right.
colorless or two generic.
So we could see that it's a good blocker. If he starts trying to go on the one power beats, he can block with his painter.
Mm-hmm.
Get some profitable blocks going here on the heritage druid.
Buy some time, sure.
So there might be merits to that play, but if he doesn't have excess, then we're not.
We have triple green now. I don't think that was an attack.
No, I can't imagine that was an attack. There's the glimpse. So he waited a turn to
just
go
to
off
have
here.
more mana.
Right. So I think that was what he was debating last turn, is whether or not he could go off. So let's see what we got this turn.
This is a lot of mana, and
that's another nettle sentinel. That's really good.
Yeah, now we should be firing on all cylinders if James has excess creatures.
Yeah, because he can just, as long as he draws 1-drops, he can just keep going here. And there's a 1-drop.
Yeah, now he opted to use the Bayou for that, but he still has 2 green mana floating, right? Or one green mana floating. Well, regardless.
Yes.
Looks like his hand is an Abrupt Decay, and I can't tell what else.
Let's see. Oh, he has the Gaze Cradle. Sure. That seems good. I wonder if he has any more creatures going on here. What is that? Oh, it's a Crop Rotation.
Crop Rotation and Abrupt Decay are the cards in hand. So.
Well, that doesn't grab any more creatures, so it looks like we're done as far as going off.
But we have a lot of mana and a large number of dorks with some protective elements.
Do you think he goes to the beatdown here? Because at least one of the Nettle Sentinels can attack.
Looks like James is opting not to. I guess he wants his guys untapped.
Oof.
Ooh, or he has the Soul Read on Containment Priest and doesn't want to lose his guy to a trade.
That's.
If that was his call, hats off, James.
Yeah.
You are impressive. I would have never guessed.
Right. I wouldn't see that telegraph. Although, come to think of it, if you know he has Containment Priest in his sideboard, like you have that knowledge, it's not that hard to call with the turn 1 fetch the White Source and then turn 2, play land go. And it's a card he should be used to playing around to. I know Miracle's sideboard, some number of them or did for a period of time. It's a card he's familiar with playing against. It's a card he would be able to snuff out with 2 mana, one of them being white. So as James being an experienced Elves player, it could just be something intrinsic to having played Elves for a long period of time, being able to sniff out that kind of play.
Yeah, that's definitely not the kind of play I would have noticed.
Right, absolutely. It's not something terribly intuitive to me either. I'm definitely on the we have to get him dead soon kind of strategy here. And so the not attack is not something terribly good. But, the double Nettle Sentinel with Heritage Druid, the Nettle Sentinels are at a premium. And losing one is not.
That's true.
It's probably not worth the potential of getting 3 damage. Because I don't think Andrew can snap that block off quick enough.
Yeah, definitely.
And so he has the Abrupt Decay here, so he can go ahead and get that out of the way. It looks like he's tapped out except for an Ancient Tomb. But he's not going to have any Flash Painters, so he can probably come
now we're willing to bring the Nettle Sentinels in.
Is he attacking here? So maybe
yes.
I think what he's doing here is just getting the extra points in, because I think Andrew doesn't want to block when tapped out because of the potential of Green Suns. With a Gaia's Cradle on the table, only trading for 1 is not a trade I think he wants to make. So I think James can definitely confidently make that attack while he's tapped out.
Yeah.
And, not be too terribly concerned.
So I didn't catch what James's draw was for turn, but it looks like it wasn't something that he wanted to play. I don't know if it means it wasn't something he could cast on this board, or just something better served later on.
Yeah, I can't see his hand.
We know he has Abrupt Decay and Crop Rotation, but I'm not sure what else.
It does not look like Andrew topped on Upkeep, and I don't think he knew what his top cards were. So
he topped last turn.
Did he top main phase?
And then
okay, yeah. I did not catch that. I believe we were discussing the Elves lines of play.
So I see an Imperial Recruiter in hand.
I see 2 of them.
2 of them.
Wow. So we got.
So there's a Blood Moon, which
5 mana to work with.
In this case isn't going to work because of the Abrupt Decay.
Right. So it's going to get decayed. Is that what is that? Is that a Grindstone as the artifact next to the
I think it's an
painters there?
Ensnaring Bridge.
Next to the recruiters. You think that's a bridge?
I can't tell.
It's either a stone or a bridge. One of those old artifacts. Got the old border.
First, we're going to spin the top.
4 mana. That still doesn't. I see
There's
a stone
a
there.
Grindstone.
Yeah. Looks like he put it on top, so he probably wants it. If he leaves the cards like that, it looks like he probably wants it.
It also means you don't want to break your fetch land here. Well, actually,
You don't mind losing the top at all, I don't think, if you're going to go for any kind of combo kill like that.
that's true. He could draw with the top, then play Imperial Recruiter to shuffle the library, so he'll have both the Painter's Servant and the Sensei's Divining Top.
Right, but I think you want to play conservatively, leave with the Blood Moon here.
Right.
And I mean, he's going to float the mana, we know that, but I think that's the correct play. And honestly, it's not even that much. I think you're probably fine with that trade from the Painter's side because you don't want your Grindstone or your Painter getting Abrupt Decayed.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. Those aren't the. Wish I knew. Yeah, that I think that is an ensnaring bridge.
Is that an ensnaring bridge? Yeah.
Hand.
Well, you definitely don't want that getting Abrupt Decayed either. So I think Blood Moon is the thing you're most okay with, getting Abrupt Decayed, and on top of that, it makes your Scalding Tarn tap for mana. So that's kind of
That's true. So right now, it looked like James floated a
Black
mana, probably a black, and
then he can tap for the 3 green there. Or you can float the green also with the Gaius Cradle, which I don't think you'll need that mana in a turn, so you can probably safely do that. Float 5 green.
So here we'll probably see the Abrupt Decay on the Blood Moon.
Flash in, what's that 4/4? The flash creature, because all your creatures flash. Kill you on your turn. There you go. A Shaman of the Pack, you
Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so bad. All right. Yeah, it looks like just the Abrupt Decay here.
So now Andrew, without a Blood Moon, doesn't have. I guess he was debating whether to use the Scalding Tarn in response, as a mana source. Because he doesn't want to shuffle, but he also doesn't need the one color or the mana right now.
Well, he main faced the top activation, right? So he's not gonna see any new cards.
Right.
All right. Looks like are we able to end of turn drain here?
I think we're just end of turn. Oh
wow.
Second Abrupt Decay.
Sure,
Okay.
decay that too.
So this means James has intentions of attacking a lot.
I mean, I can't blame him. I think we're on the kill you soon strategy. He has, Mr. Andrew has a lot of cards in hand. A lot of them are probably real bad for you. You don't have a lot of cards in hand. It seems like it might be time to start getting some damage in.
I agree. Now he's still holding on to that crop rotation, I assume, because he wants to be able to get a forest. At this point, he could have crop rotated for like a Dryad Arbor if he wanted just more attackers.
Right. Which is probably the only reason to hold it back is if you ever need the Dryad Arbor for the extra point or to make it an extra turn on the clock. It's probably worth doing, but you need to hold it one more turn to see if he has the another Blood Moon. To see if you need to grab a forest. Because like I said, I think I really want to get rid of Cavern here. That card's not very good here. What is that? Is that a
Quirion Ranger?
Quirion Ranger? Yeah.
So that there's not a whole lot of instants in the sorceries in the graveyard, but that combined with Deathrite Shaman can sometimes finish a game in a hurry.
Right. I mean, he is at 8. We got what 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 power on the board.
And another activation.
Oh, and a land drop, so he can just drain again right now.
Or at Andrew's end step. Yeah, because he can't pick up the forest and then redeploy it. But yeah, and this is Andrew's last turn if he doesn't.
So I imagine he really needs to find exactly what he needs to find the Painter here, because he has 5 mana. He can play Painter, play Stone, and activate if he finds it here in a turn. Because I mean, going down to 7 is the feel bads. You know you're finna die. Next turn, you got a lot of attackers coming through. You're probably not gonna be able to supply the blockers, so you probably need to find the combo here, right? Or deploy Bridge and empty your hand. But with 2 recruiters in hand, there's no way.
Yeah, emptying your hand seems really hard when you have the recruiters.
Yeah, you have 9 mana, so he just has to find the Painter here. Looks like we got Sudden Shock, and I didn't catch the other 2.
Yeah, Sudden Shock doesn't do anything here since there's a pair of Death Rites. Like,
get him with that Death Rite. He's got a Death Rite up if he doesn't activate. Like, at some point, random.
Yeah.
Just get him.
But just having the second one.
Yeah, it's bad, but we'll see. Pyroblast, I can't see what the other thing is, and Sudden Shock.
So none of this is great. Now, he can get a free shuffle out of Imperial Recruiter. The problem now, or that fetch land. The problem is, like we said before, you absolutely have to either combo kill or stop James from being able to attack, right? Otherwise, you'll just die.
What does the Grindstone take to activate? Is it 2 mana?
3.
3 mana to activate?
It's 1 to play and 3 to activate. So
he has to find it here? Wait, did he just activate top?
Yeah, he's digging 1 card deeper.
I don't think he has the luxury to do that, right? Because he needs to fetch and blind draw. That way he can just kill him there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other. Well, he's taking the draw after spinning, but
maybe he has engineered explosives. That's an out.
That would be incredible right now.
That is certainly an out.
That would be brutal.
Yeah. I didn't think about that one. So he doesn't necessarily have to find exactly the combo. It seems like the most likely thing is you have 4-4 versus 1, but it's not the only out. Okay, he just picks up.
Yeah, I guess there was no way around it. He didn't find any pieces. Actually, now that you mentioned the engineered explosives, it feels like there might have been another shuffle.
Yeah, he could have fetched, looked, played, and still had the play crack available as a line if he didn't draw with top. I don't know what he was necessarily trying to accomplish with the draw on top there.
Well, so here's MTG Training Grounds is the group that's bringing you the Legacy Tour Huntsville. So they produce webcasts and podcasts and other video-based content related to primarily Legacy, but just Magic in general. You can check them out on YouTube. Just search for the username MTG Training Grounds, or they can be found on Facebook at the username or the group name, MTG Training Grounds. If you're interested in that, check them out. They have a lot of good content with deck tech interviews, battle videos, and all sorts of great stuff. So back to the sideboards, we'll have another look. I don't imagine a whole lot's changing here.
I mean, like I said, maybe on the draw, James wants to take out Thoughtseizes. It seems a lot worse on the draw, especially if he tries to keep an explosive hand. So that would be the only change I could really see on James Hess's sideboard, is maybe taking out any and all of the hand hate you may have brought in, because it's just not going to be as good if you're trying to snipe a Blood Moon effect on the draw as it is on the play.
And from Andrew's side, like we said before, the Containment Priests are still good. The Ensnaring Bridges are still good, and they would have been, that would have been a big help in that last game. I still think Etherthorn Canonist, regardless of whether you're on the play or the draw, is great. And we saw the Sudden Shock came in. I assume it's good enough to leave in, or at least there's enough cards worth taking out. Likewise, I just don't imagine that these decks change a whole lot post sideboard.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's something I'm not sure about is how much do you think Andrew may have played the Elves matchup, because he probably might have sideboarded out all of his artifact hate, because he didn't see any artifacts there game 2. He didn't see any artifacts game 1 that he would care about. Does he know, or do you think you even care enough to leave answers in to the Null Rod and Pithing Needle? Right. Because you can still Painter on blue and Pyroblast the Null Rod. And do you think that's enough to answer the maybe one of that comes in? Do you think maybe he just kicks out all of his artifact hate?
I feel like it's justifiable that you don't need it. The thing is, though, he only really has one main deck artifact hate, like the Manic Vandal. Right. And it's not a huge opportunity cost, because Imperial Recruiter is effectively 4 more copies, right? It's the same. It's actually very similar to what James is doing with Green Sun Zenith. Like, you can play one copy of a card that you probably don't need, but if maybe you just want to have it, and the opportunity cost is really low because you have tutor effects like that.
Right.
I personally think James's variant of the tutor is more effective, but he's in green and he's in red.
So Andrew's in mono red. You can only ask for so much as far as tutors go.
Yeah, so you just sort of you get what's available, and beggars won't be choosers. I don't know if I was in Andrew's seat if I would take the Manic Vandal out, just because the alternative of trying to set up the Painter plus Pyroblasts seems harder. Like if you really need the artifact hate, that's a lot of hoops to jump through just to get rid of an artifact. But
you're trying to find the Painter anyway. Like I said, good blocker. Yeah. It's just, it's one of the necessary cards in the matchup. Looks like Andrew's taking a mulligan, but you want to have the Painter anyway. So at that point, it's only finding Pyroblast, right? As far as artifact hate goes, and by the time he may draw into the artifact hate that James has on his side of the board, you may not even, you may just line up well with your strategy anyway.
Sure. It's like James's hand had the only land was a Gaia's Cradle, so he has to throw his back as well.
Yeah, those are the hands you really can have in Elves. The turn one, I've seen multiple hands out of Elves where they're like turn one, go grab like a Dryad Arbor or whatever, or just play Dryad Arbor, like fetch whatever, and your turn 2 land is a Gaia's Cradle. And so if your Dryad Arbor dies at all, like your turn 2 land is Gaia's Cradle, go. I've seen that a lot of the sketchy hands that Elves has to keep. And, when they take mulligans are just like turn 1, fetch a Dryad Arbor because you have to turn on your Gaia's Cradle and say go and hope they don't blow it up. And
Gaia's Cradle is not without risk. If it otherwise it would just be a little too good, I assume. But I mean, it's an incredibly powerful card, so the risk is worth it. But but there are scenarios you can come up with where it just doesn't get there, and that was an example hand right there where James couldn't keep it because he needed a source that actually tapped for mana turn one, not on the turns following.
Right. Hopefully, like fetchland.
Now it looks like Andrew's hand has at least one land.
He looks like he did bring the sudden shocks in. We see one there.
Yeah, I think that was a one land hand, and now James. Oh, I think the players were discussing that James wanted to mulligan again, and Andrew is not. He's supposed to wait to scry until after all mulligans have been finalized. Absolutely. Although that's a minor slip up here. I think Andrew's going to keep. His decision is going to be pretty irrelevant, or it will be unbiased by the number of cards. Yeah.
I don't think too much is going to change based on how much James mulligans here.
Right, but it's also worth noting that James is a very honest player, and he doesn't want to have his mulligan decision swayed by whether Andrew decides to keep the card on top or bottom.
Right.
So
absolutely. So actually, it probably matters more for James than anybody else, but still probably doesn't even matter that much. Especially because James is on a 5. He's probably going to keep anything functional at this point.
Yeah.
There's no real strategic mulligan happening anyway.
So James is on the draw here, which is definitely, in Legacy in general, that's a disadvantage. But in this matchup where you can just be completely locked out of your colored producing land from turn one or as early as turn one, that's a scary position to be in.
Right. Well, honestly, I think this is one of those matches where mulliganing doesn't matter that much because this is not really a card advantage war, right? Like this is going to be a combo kill. So like the cards in your hand, the quality of those cards matters so much more than the amount you have. So mulliganing here is something that's just not going to hurt as much as it will against a deck like Shardless, for instance, that is just trying to out-card advantage you, where you just need more card quantity. And so being on the draw here with a scry, James might get basically an effective solid 6.
Yeah.
Out of, like, he just scryed to the bottom, so that card doesn't matter. And, he's going to be able to pick up another card.
Ooh, and he has the basic forest natural and a Llanowar.
So that's quite the start.
Bring on the Blood Moon.
So we got a turn 1 grindstone here. So both players are kind of threatening a early combo. We got a City of Traders. That's a lot of mana real quick.
So if he had the Blood Moon, it looks like he does not. That would have been a chance to play it, although it looks like Hess has kept a hand that is fairly irrelevant.
Ooh. Okay. So instead of activating top, or it looks like playing like the Imperial Recruiter, I assume that's what's in his hand. I can't tell if it's a pirate.
Imperial Recruiter and a Enlightened Tutor.
So what do you think of maybe playing the Imperial Recruiter there to go grab the Painter, kind of make this a little, I don't know, cut the clock down a little bit? But I don't know, maybe he just wanted to slow him down. Maybe Andrew thinks that his Painter, grabbing Painter with Recruiter is just not going to be fast enough, and he really needs to slow James down with his mana production.
Well, and that's, if you don't sudden shock an early elf to try and cut mana off, you never get the opportunity to, right? Because like after turns 2 or 3, elves usually has enough mana producers that like sudden shock on one of their mana guys just does virtual nothing. Like,
right.
They don't. Excuse me. They don't do much else. So here's another Sensei's top, and we've got a spare mana floating. So I assume we'll see Andrew spin his. Nope, guess not.
Yeah, maybe he just likes the card on top enough.
Right.
Because you do get to see an extra card there, but I don't think. I think he's on the it doesn't matter that much strategy. Hey, look, a Wirewood Symbiote. He picked up a Wirewood Symbiote, it looks like.
Is that?
So he can kind of do the Wirewood Symbiote Visionary thing, which is not as good as it is in like fair deck matchups. But I imagine, drawing cards is almost never bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when you're on a Multi 5, you kind of need to get out of it.
Absolutely. That'll Sentinel. What do we got? Is that the Heritage Druid? Oof.
Ooh, we've got mana.
Let's see what we got. That's a symbiote.
Oh boy.
Untap.
We got many mana.
But that's not an elf. Alright, so he's on the return to untap the Heritage Druid, replay, draw.
Alright.
This looks like quite a good board state for James. This is quite the Multi 5.
Things are going well.
Let's see if he can keep going.
That's a glimpse of nature, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Oh my gosh. Does he have any more creatures?
I don't know. I'm about to find out. I thought I saw a crop rotation in his hand, so at least one of the cards is...
James also hasn't played a land this turn, so that's relevant. If his final land was say something like a Gaia's Cradle, or if he did have a crop rotation, could go get a Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, that seems good. Like with any green mana flow, because he gets 3 more green mana here. If you just go crop rotating a Gaia's Cradle and you have some creatures to keep going, this could get good.
think.
Do we have a glimpse? It is a glimpse. Wow.
So James is making it happen.
Jeez. And there's another creature. All right.
So draw another
Death Ray.
creature.
That's
So we
another
got
creature.
no mana floating, but we have 3 elves on the battlefield again, so we can produce 3 more green mana.
And this really puts the pressure on Andrew to be able to empty his hand and find a bridge next turn.
And potentially find Imperial, or I'm sorry, not Imperial, the Painter Servant. Like, Andrew, I think, needs a combo kill quick, because now there's enough pressure that he's gonna die soon. Like,
Right. and you know, it's kind of unfortunate. It's a City of Church, not an Ancient Tomb, because you can't put more mana on the board to be able to pump things out faster, pump your artifacts out faster. You know, like play Recruiter and Painter in the same turn.
So there's
Pithing Needle.
Yeah,
wow.
The Needle will be able to lock down either of Andrew's artifacts, either Sensei's Top or Grindstone.
And you know that finding an answer to the Needle is just not going to be something he's going to be able to do, I imagine, terribly quickly, which means that.
No, it's at least 2 turns.
Yeah, which means that this clock he's now established with
Pendlehaven?
Yeah, Pendlehaven, all these creatures. That's going to be, you know, that might just be enough to go ahead and seal this game off really quickly.
So Andrew, I believe James named Sensei's Divining Top with his. Or no, he named Grindstone, so the Sensei's Top has to stay on top of the library. He can't grind it away.
Right.
To effectively find more cards. And that was sort of the cost of tapping the top, is now Andrew is stuck in this scenario.
But he gets the shuffle with the Imperial Recruiter here.
That'll help.
And you know, he can grab the Painter if he can commit Painter. If he has the Blast next turn, he can play Painter Blast and then next turn kill him.
That's true.
I'm not sure. I mean, he's at 20 life, so he hasn't taken any damage off Ancient Tomb. So like this kill here is gonna be, let's see how much damage we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 damage, 8 damage. So yeah, so he's on a 3-turn clock right now,
right,
as the board stands. And so what we're saying, as long as it happens as we say it, is feasible. So you know, Andrew's not totally out of this game yet.
Right.
It's not looking good. You know, I think James definitely has the better board state.
Not the position I'd want to be in.
But or as you said before this game started, you can go grab the Vandal, the guy that blows the artifacts up.
Get rid of the Pithing Needle.
You know, plant that. But that's that's much slower. And what's the power deficit? Is he a 2/1?
Manic Vandal's a 2/2.
2/2. Okay, so at least he's a decent blocker. Kind of cut through the damage a little bit.
Yeah, it's rough against Pendlehaven, but even so, it buys time, which Andrew has 3 turns max at the currently. So we'll see.
We'll see what he's gonna grab. He's tanking pretty hard. A Simian Spirit Guide. Well, that's a good way to get extra mana.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess he's assuming he's got enough time here to draw. Now that he's shuffled his library, he can use the Sensei's Top to shuffle his library, or to look at the top 3 and find maybe some more action.
Right.
He's gonna need it. So James picks up. I didn't see which.
I didn't get a chance to catch his draw
either.
either.
It was the other Deathrite Shaman.
Okay.
End of turn, just so he has more gas in hand, I assume, for this turn. And, you know, if he finds another Glimpse of Nature or something like that, excuse me, he'd want to be able to use it. There's 3 green.
So we got another glimpse. Wow, this is looking pretty bad for Andrew. I hope he's got some good ones.
Oh no, he picked up Visionary. That makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Apologies to the viewers.
Get the good old 2-card draw.
Yeah, and James is actually looking good to go off again.
Yeah,
back-to-back turns of this.
And he has way more. Yeah, he has way more mana this time too.
So there's
another death, right? We get to untap, take a draw. Got to have another creature to be able to tap for 3 more mana. Let's see what we got.
3 mana floating.
There's the second Nettle Sentinel. So now he only needs 1 creature per draw. Yeah. He's got 3 mana to start it off. Only needs 1 creature.
2 mana floating. Now there's 5 green. Assume we're gonna see more draws.
A second glimpse. I mean, a third glimpse. A second glimpse for the turn.
Yeah.
You know, if he has any creature, which he can pick up the Visionary, draw 3 cards. This game's looking pretty over. The fat lady's not singing yet, but this looks really bad.
Yeah, this is what, turn 4 on a mull to 5?
I think when they can 2 mana recall in green, this game might be getting close to over.
2, 3, yep. So James he's actually drawing more cards than he can play now.
Well, I mean, he can just keep going because he only needs like one creature and he can draw two.
I'm not sure how much mana James has, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
I stopped keeping track.
You know, it's funny because this kind of gets to the point where the Elves deck can almost get, in range of decking themselves if they don't find what they need quick enough because they have to keep playing creatures to start generate mana. But if he still has the land drop, he can play a Cradle, and that's going to give him plenty of mana.
Yeah.
So he can just wait till he draws into a Cradle, which I assume is going to happen at some point soon.
Well, that symbiote represents at least 5 more mana, I think, and
Reclamation Sage. Sure. Yeah, this game is. I think at this point, even if he fails to go off with the Reclamation Sage, he can snipe some of his artifacts, and at that point, he can just kill him with hard damage, almost right here. But I think he's gonna go for he blew up his red source. He now cannot play a land without losing his City of Traders, and I think this game is over. I'm not sure which way James will go with it, if he'll just try to combo kill him this turn or damage him out with what he has on the table. But
so he has to find a Green Suns or a Craterhoof, he's got to have incredible amounts of mana floating at this point.
Yeah, I almost wish they would keep track of it a little better on screen with the numbers here, but I assume he's announcing it. Hey, look, he did keep Thoughtseize in post board just in case.
I assume this is just to verify that the way is clear.
Yeah, or to snipe the Spirit Guide to make sure he's not doing anything next turn.
So Andrew floats a red mana, presumably so that it's available for the Sensei's Divining Top.
Right. I mean, it lets you get some value out of it because that's almost certainly what he would take with Thoughtseize. Cut you off red mana entirely seems rather strong.
I don't know what could even get you out of this, but
no, he can bounce the Reclamation Sage. Oh my gosh.
I don't even think this matters, but
I think James is almost just getting cute here. Bounce the Reclamation Sage, try to go for like the flawless here, blow up every permanent you have.
Now he's chosen to pick up Elvish Visionary again because why not have 3 more cards?
That seems, I don't know, it seems above average.
Ay.
I said this wasn't about card advantage.
Well, there's the guy's
I see the
you
Cradle.
asked for.
Yeah, absolutely. So I imagine that will be his land for turn, and at this point he could just go cast Green Suns for Craterhoof with it, and kill him with whatever creatures were in this turn. Where's the Green Suns? There it is, peekaboo.
And maybe Andrew will ask him to show him the Craterhoof, but otherwise I
can't imagine this game was over. Yeah, there's Mangas of the Moon. That card seems a little late.
That was turn 4 on a Mold of 5.
Nothing like the good old 3 Glimpse of Natures on your Mold of 5. Check it out.
Elves is a deck that when it has the pieces, it looks like there is no way to stop it. And there's
Craterhoof. There's Big Daddy. We got 2 Nettle Sentinels, and the Craterhoof has got to be enough damage to kill him. I'm not gonna do this math, but this looks like a really dead Painter player.
At least 40 power or more worth of attackers.
Ugh, gross. Yeah, he's counting it up.
So 11 times 3 is 33.
Plus 9.
Plus 9. Yeah, so it's 40 damage. Yeah.
Nice casual 40 damage if he has a blocker, which he does.
They all have trample.
They all have trample, but that's 39. Okay. Check out 39 damage. He is going to declare the block.
James just letting us know, and Andrew
drawn with top Terminus.
Refuses to go down. All right.
He's got white in his deck.
Well, there you have it. James Hess on a Mold of 5 manages to combo kill Andrew Wright on turn 4. His turn 4 on the draw. And that is our victor. James Hess wins the Legacy Tour Huntsville for the 2nd time in a row.
I know. It's in a row, too. Wow. Yeah.
So, anyway, there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage here of the Legacy Tour Huntsville. Join us next time on March 26th for the Legacy Tour Huntsville returns to JC's House of Cards. So come on out and join us, and we'll see you then.